What you are looking at right now is the world's first recorded camera footage of a 12-foot tall South Asian entity. In the West, you call them skinwalkers, but in Sri Lanka, he is known as Mahasona, a giant with a human body and the crushed head of a black bear. He does not just hunt you, he leaves a physical, burned handprint on your back. It crushes your organs from the inside out. Tonight, Horrorwink Official unlocks the cursed village archives of a forbidden ritual that went horribly wrong. Turn off your lights because once you look into his eyes, there is no turning back. Deep inside the dark tropical jungles of Sri Lanka, an ancient evil in hiding. This is not like any ghost you see in Hollywood movies. This is a very real and very dangerous entity that people fear today. His name is Mahasona. He is a massive demon who stands over 12 feet tall. Local legends say he has a muscular body of a giant man, but his head is a crushed skull of the wild black bear. He does not just hunt quiet places at night. He actively hunts humans for blood and revenge. Mahasona is known across South Asia as the ultimate symbol of absolute worth. He is famously ruthless and never forgives anyone who makes him angry. In the small villages of Sri Lanka, when a person wants to seek deep revenge against an enemy, they don't always call the local police. Instead, they secretly visit a dark sorcerer known as Gurunwanse. This sorcerer uses for binding ancient black magic to unleash and fury of Mahasona upon the enemy. Once this demon is sent after you, there is no way to escape his deadly curse. When Mahasona attacks him victim in the dark, he always leaves a terrifying signature behind. The victim is found dead with a massive purple burnt handprint pressed deeply into their prey back. This handprint is proof that the demon is stuck there. After the attack, the victim's health destroys very quickly. They begin to vomit dark blood. Their internal organs completely crush inside their body, and they die a very painful death within a few days. In Sri Lankan folklore, this mark on your back is an absolutely death sentence. To call this giant bear-headed demon from the spirit world, sorcerer must perform very dangerous midnight rituals. These rituals are called thowil or devil dances. They take place in the middle of the night, usually at the three-way road junction or inside the abandoned village cemetery. The sorcerer wears a scary mask and dances around a blazing fire while chanting secret mantras in the deep trance. The atmosphere becomes very heavy and cold. The demon will only appear if the sorcerer calls him using the exact secret word passed down for generations. However, Mahasona does not help humans or grant revenge for free. He always demands a very high price for his dark work. This price is called a pilla, which means a fresh blood sacrifice in a normal rituals. The demon demands a live black rooster to drink its warm blood. But in the most dangerous and darkest black magic rituals, he demands real human blood. The sorcerers must promise Mahasona exactly what he wants. He must also promise to give a sacrifice at the exact hour and minute a demon demands it. There is the super me rule in Sri Lankan sorcery that everyone must follow. You can never break a contract with Mahasona. If you make a promise to this bare-headed giant, you must keep it perfectly. If your sorcerer fail to deliver their promised blood sacrifice and the exact moment something terribly happens, or if the assistant panics and runs away during the midnight rituals, the demon becomes furious. Mahasona will instantly turn his terrible wrath away from the enemy and attack the people who called him inside. When Mahasona turns on a sorcerer, the punishment is horrific. The entity will completely possess the sorcerer's body or destroy their mind forever. He drags their soul straight into the dark underworld, leaving them dead or completely insane. This is why even the most powerful black magic masters are terrified when working with Mahasona. One small mistake during the midnight ritual can cost you your life. This is not a fictional story. It's a dark reality that elders in Sri Lankan villages talk about the great fear. This terrifying legend is not just an old myth from history. Real paranormal investigators in Sri Lanka recently uncovered the chilling eyewitness account from the remote village. This investigation was captured on camera, showing the dark location where this event took place decades ago. There was a very powerful and famous sorcerer known as Madivela Sorcerer. He was known for doing impossible things with spirits. One night, he took his young assistant, a man named Hitchia, into a deep forest cemetery to perform a forbidden ritual. According to the old village witnesses who watched from a distance, a ritual started normally under the dim light of oil torches. But as the sorcerer reached a peak of his dark chance, the weather suddenly changed in a very unnatural way. A violent, freezing wind like a miniature hurricane tore through the silent cemetery. The trees began to bend and break under the force of the wind. Suddenly, all the oil torches blew out at the same time, plunging the entire forest into total pitch black darkness. In that terrifying darkness, a strange demonic noise filled the air. It sounded like an angry animal roaring mixed with electronic static. The all witnesses said that the sorcerer's body began to change, and his voice became deep and monstrous. He was completely possessed by the entity. With the furious roar, the possessed sorcerer turned to his assistant, Hitchia, and demanded the final blood sacrifice that complete the contract. The demon wants his prize immediately, and he was losing his patience in the dark forest. But something went completely wrong at that exactly moment. The assistant Hitchia looked at the sorcerer's face in the dim moonlight and saw something so monstrous that his heart stopped. The sorcerer's human features had distorted into the terrifying shape resembling a wild animal. Paralyzed by pure absolute terror, an assistant dropped the crucial items, abandoned his master, and ran blindly into the dark jungle. He broke the sacred contract with Mahasona by failing to deliver the blood sacrificed when it was demanded. The next morning, the villagers went into the cemetery to see what happened to the two men. The sight they found deeply disturbing. The powerful sorcerer, Madivela had vanished completely without leaving a single trace behind. His clothes and crucial tools were scattered on the ground, but his body was gone. He was never seen or heard from again. As for the young assistant Hitchia, the villagers found him wandering near the edge of the jungle later that afternoon, but he was completely changed. Hitchia was alive, but his mind was totally distorted by demon. He was shaking violently, his eyes were wide with fear, and he could no longer speak. The terror of what he saw in the cemetery that night had wiped away his sanity forever. To this very day, Hitchia remains mute and mentally broken, unable to live a normal life. He lives as a silent warning to the village. He can never tell anyone the horrific details of what Mahasona did to his master in the dark. When modern paranormal teams visited the village, they recorded real audio and video evidence of cursed locations. They even interviewed the elders who still remember that night. The heavy dark energy can still be felt inside the abandoned forest cemetery. This real-life horror story shows that the ancient forests of Sri Lanka are still active and dangerous. Mahasona is not legend you should disrespect. He is a dark protector of ancient secret waiting in the shadows for anyone foolish enough to call him. Now, this dark story is reaching international audiences across the world. For years, These terrifying secrets were kept hidden inside small South Asian villages. But through real investigators and documentary videos, the world can finally see the true power of Sri Lankan folklore. Mahasona remains the undisputed king of demons, a 12-foot giant with a bear's head who punishes those who break his laws. If you ever travel through the dark jungles of Sri Lanka at night, remember this story and never look behind you.